All right. Good evening, everybody. I'm trying to get in this channel. I'm trying to get some random thoughts off. Right when it's time to get some random thoughts off. When I look at things, kind of some of the narratives being played. Because one thing I want to take into account is that I have a unique perspective that sometimes I'm seeing things that the other people in the media, other people in the media don't see, and so it's been much ado about the whole situation with the Denver Nuggets and Coach Mike Malone getting fired, and I will say this right because on my thumbnail on the thumbnail you see the Denver Nuggets statistics as per Yahoo Sports. I pick them all. I always look at Yahoo Sports for my statistics, right? So I'm looking at the Denver Nuggets team statistics, and I'm looking at a situation, and I'm seeing, well, damn, the Denver Nuggets supporting cast around Nikola Jokic, they put up pretty good numbers this year. I mean, you got to look at the shooting percentages of guys like Christian Brown, guys like, Aaron Gordon was shooting 56 and 43, 44, almost 44% from three. You got Michael Porter Jr. Now, again, I always pride myself in saying I don't use stats to make arguments. And that's not what I'm doing here. That's not what I'm doing here, right? I am making an argument, and then I find the stats later. So I want y'all guys to understand this because I had a conversation earlier with my co-host Jermaine, JB, on the 10 Toes Down podcast, where I said this issue with Denver being whatever and not having supporting like no help, no all-star help around Jokic is just ridiculous. And again, I'm going to take guys like Scap Attack. I'm going to take these guys who a little bit overprotective. Again, I want you guys to understand, I am a big Nikola Jokic fan, right? And then when I see Nikola Jokic speak on situations, he never complains about his teammates. He never complained about the help. So Denver went into a swoon where they lost 4 straight games in the beginning of April, and they won their last 3 to finish off at the 4th seed, which, you would think they would have won the 3rd, and they probably should have won the 3rd if they didn't have those little swoons. Really, they could have been the 2nd seed, and it should have been the 2nd seed. But when you look at Denver's issues, it's not as simple as them not having help. See, one thing I want people to understand, it's teams have, especially in this day and age, have to have certain elements. Now, again, Denver does not have a backline rim protector. And in the last couple of years, when they've been contender, where they won the championship, and they was definitely a contender last year, they make up for that with certain things, right? And Denver lost 2 great, in Bruce Brown and then Kentavious Caldwell-Pope through free agency. They lost 2 great perimeter defenders, perimeter stoppers. Those are the 2 elements you need to play adequate level defense in the NBA. And so defense probably is an issue. And, with the whole situation with Mike Malone and Calvin Booth and ownership saying, I just really can't understand how do you get rid of a championship combo. Even if there are some issues there, I don't understand how you get rid of a combo that just won you a championship. This is the league that we live in. But once again, I'm going to say, because this is a narrative that's put out there that I believe is very stupid, to be honest. That Nikola Jokic does not have help. And then you go and look at the numbers of the players that play around him. And again, see, one of the things, look at those numbers, look at those shooting percentages, look at the production. That's due to Nikola Jokic being the center of that offense in the first place, right? And I've said this. Denver was so good because they play methodical. They play their own speed. They play very methodical. And as you see in the numbers, they play very efficient basketball. Now, again, the one key is when you lose two guys who are keys to your defense, like KCP and Bruce Brown and Jeff Green to an extent, right? You lose those key role players, you lose a bit of an element of what makes you at least good defensively, right? So therefore, they're still a good team, but they've come down in a couple of notches, and that's the issue, right? So again, now I'm going to have to throw it to my boy Westbrook. Or again, you look at the numbers, and you're going to see his shooting percentages are low. Right? And that would make you think, well, because his shooters are below, he must be the weak link in here. He's messing things up. No, that's not how this works, bro. It's not how basketball works. Because one thing is like when you look at it, Michael Porter Jr. and Aaron Gordon, those are guys who could make their own shots, but they're better off for being set up. And again, that's why that you look at their shooting percentage, and Christian Brown as well. You look at their shooting percentages, and they're that high because you got the Nuggets can play a lineup that has three elite or three very good playmakers, shot creators to get those guys the ball, and Russell Westbrook being one of them. It's the reason why Russell Westbrook. And again, I get the Minnesota game. He conked out. This is what Russ is tend to do. But you can't losing that one game. They lost a lot of other games for other different reasons. And again, we can. It's going to come out what the real story happened there in Denver and everything else. But to put it all on Westbrook again, when he was a catalyst, the team was playing stale in the beginning of the season. Same numbers, same. I'm sure the numbers were just as good, going good, and everything else. It was when they put Russell Westbrook in. He was a catalyst. He was a guy who broke certain molds. Like they could play at a higher pace. They didn't have to play as methodical with Russell Westbrook in the lineup. Therefore, he was creating a different dynamic that they needed. They needed a different dynamic around Jokic. Again, a lot of people gonna say they run everything to Jokic, which you should, because he's such a great creator. He's going to create great shots. But in this day and age, when everybody's scoring 115 points, you got to do it. You got to do it in all different kinds of ways. You can't just do it one way. You can't just run the same play because teams will catch on to what you're doing and they counteract. They'll counteract what you do. So therefore, look, at the end of the day, you have a lot more going on. Again, the stupid narrative that he doesn't have all-stars around him. Again, look at Murray's stats for the season. That's a borderline, it's an all-star level season. The problem is there were a lot of guards in the West. Look at Doncic, because of being hurt, didn't make it all. So he's one of the point guards that you contend with. You can't contend with those numbers. You got SGA. I'm sorry, Murray is not going to make all-star games in a conference with Murray, SGA, Anthony Edwards. I'm going to think De'Aaron Fox. He's a tier below those guys, but he's not a bum. 22 since when is 22-6 on 47 and 40? And look, the Denver Nuggets starting five all shoot 39 or higher from three. So if I go and look at the numbers, I guarantee you their team numbers are pretty high when it comes to metrics and efficiency. So there's an issue beyond the issue. And again, a lot of time probably defense is definitely taking a step back, and you can't just blame that on Joker. Again, that's one of the things that if you're gonna rate him as an all-time center, then you have to take into account that he does not give you the rim protection and shot blocking that the great centers of the past gave, and that you have to take that against him, because you have to hold that against him and counterbalance his amazing offensive numbers. You understand what I'm saying? So at that point and in that case, bro, it's not like you cannot just say Denver doesn't have help. Joker doesn't have it. That is just a stupid narrative, and you really have to watch games to really understand what Denver's problem. Because I saw Denver's solution to get to a championship level. I said they need, once they traded for Aaron Gordon, he brought a level of athleticism that they didn't have. Like, that's the thing. They're good at the cutting and getting open for threes, but they need a guy who can slash through defenses. They need a they even right now, and this is what Westbrook kind of brings at his size and his level, that he's a guy that can slash through offenses where they're not just running methodical plays. They're getting out there to a few fast breaks. They're getting a few backdoor cuts and, run outs and stuff like that. You have to do that in this day and age to play elite level basketball. So again, Denver's gonna, by nature, by having Jokic and having that supporting cast, they're gonna be a good team, but they're just missing elements. And so, obviously the way Malone was trying to coach them was to play to their strengths. And again, that's what a good coach should do. But again, there's just certain things that they did not have on the roster. And while you say, yeah, he favored Westbrook, yes, because Westbrook was the wild card they needed. Westbrook was the wild card they needed. A guy who does not just play methodically. He plays improvisationally. See, you gotta have the methodical when you need it. You got to have the improvisation. You gotta have the go out, run out, make teams adjust to something else. Because again, that's the thing. Everybody, you can run your plays, you can be good at running your offense, but everybody gets scouted, and you need a wild card. So again, like I said, Westbrook was that wild card, and that's a key reason to understand why Denver went from playing stale when he was all coming off the bench and not get as many consistent minutes to all of a sudden going on a big time run. I think they were like 18-3 or something like that when he was in the starting lineup right off the bat. So, again, this is my thought. I'm gonna wrap it up here, but I just don't see it, bro. There's no way that Joker did not have enough help, and that's a stupid narrative that needs to go away. Peace.